Tonight we're with Ian Hongell, who's the senior winemaker over at Peter Lehmann in Australia. Peter Lehmann is a legendary figure in Australian wine history, known as the Baron of the Barossa, and he's left quite a legacy, and we're very, very fortunate tonight to have their senior winemaker here to talk about the wines. And Ian, you occupy a really cool position at Peter Lehmann. We've got a number of wines here that we're tasting tonight, some of which are not as well known. For example, a lot of people don't know that Australia makes some of the best Riesling in the world. It's usually a dry Riesling, and we have one here tonight that we produced. And this is this from Eden Valley, Ian?
That's right.
And how would you describe this wine?
Well, Eden Valley produces some of Australia's greatest Rieslings, and what's really cool about these wines is that they can get ripe enough so that we can actually make them as dry style. So they have incredible acidity, minerality. The soils are very old, and we have a lot of granite and schist in the soils, and that gives these wines a real finesse and delicacy. And then from that we get the beautiful lime and citrus characteristics that these Rieslings display, and that gives them a beautiful freshness while they're young, but then also an incredible ability to age for many, many decades into the future.
And so, the way you've described it too, I mean, the lime and citrus notes, if you're looking for really good examples of Australian Riesling, that's an identifier, that lime citrus note.
Yeah.
Quite different from other parts of the world where they produce Riesling.
Yeah, we don't need to really have Rieslings that carry a lot of residual sugar, so people often feel that Rieslings are sweet, so they don't want to drink them. But here's a really fabulous thirst-quenching alternative to your traditional sweet-style Riesling. So, Eden Valley, Peter Lehmann, they're two great names that are synonymous with famous Riesling from Australia. And, you know, we're very passionate about the Rieslings that we produce in our district.
Now, you also are probably better known for the red wines, like the Chardonnay, like the Cabernet and the Shiraz. It's been a long day, folks.
You know, the Barossa is an interesting place. We just spoke about Riesling, and it's really divided into two main sub-regions. The Barossa Valley, which is the valley floor, and the Eden Valley, which is fruit taken from the hills. So where the Eden Valley has those sandy granite soils and they're really sort of depleted and low fertility, the valley floor is rich red-brown earths over limestone, and there's lots of different climates and microclimates within that. But that sort of tapestry of soil gives us an amazing opportunity with Shiraz. So Barossa Shiraz is certainly a very famous identity, but it's not one flavour. So one of the really cool things we can have at Lehmann is, with 140 families bringing us fruit, is we can actually make an incredible selection of different flavoured wines. So Shiraz isn't just Shiraz. And so from our flagship Shiraz, the Stonewall Shiraz, which is really sort of black fruit, firm tannin, traditional in style and gives you that real capacity to age the wines, down to sort of more of an everyday Shiraz like the portrait here, which we don't actually have, but it doesn't matter, but basically everyday Shiraz that can give that beautiful red fruit, lovely chocolate edge underneath, fantastic mouthfeel, but then just beautiful soft tannin. So I think that the Barossa can be typified into two expressions, you know, fine elegant whites and rich soft reds.
And the valley floor is considered a little warmer too. It's a warm region.
That's correct. So it's a Mediterranean climate. We're having sort of cool wet winters and warm dry summers. It can get warmer, but there is also elevation. So a lot of people don't think about that, but the region's actually at about 450 metres above sea level. So we actually get some quite elegance in the reds that is a factor of the elevation in the region.
And you've got some very old vines too.
So yeah, the Barossa's got some of the oldest growers in the world. It's got some of the oldest vines in the world, and certainly some of the oldest soils in the world. Yet we're a new world wine growing region. So most of the vines are all on own roots. They're pre-phylloxera, and so we have vines in excess of 160 years of age in our region, still living today, still producing wine. And to make wine off that, it's something incredibly special. They're like, they're the wine industry's version of a sea turtle.
And they're almost uneconomical to farm.
Well, we're hoping that we can pay a little bit more for those vines, because they tend to make fairly special wines, and old vineyards can make some of the most incredible wines in our region. Not necessarily always, but there's definitely some extra attributes that come out of that old vine philosophy.
Well, the old vines are interesting because they have deeper root systems, so they have access to more nutrients, and because they're older, they're less vigorous, meaning they can focus on concentrating their fruit on fewer clusters. So usually with old vines you get more complex wines and more concentrated wines.
That's right, and the old vines also have a minerality factor. If you ever cut through an old vine accidentally on a tractor when you're not looking at the right moment, and you look through what's in the centre of the vine, you'll actually see these massive mineral streaks. And so over the decades, they've drawn these up through the soils, and they're actually imparted in the wood. And so all the sap and all the phloem has to go through that, and we believe that just creates an extra dimension in the wines that old vines can bring to a wine.
Well, thank you very much. Also, I don't want to ignore the fact that you've got two sweeter wines. You have the Botrytis Semillon, and you also have
the muscat.
The muscat.
Yeah, so the Barossa's got a really old history of fortified production. So before table wine came to age, it was actually a region that was founded on making ports and sherries and muscats. So there's a great history in our district of these style wines. Part of Peter's legacy is to carry on making these wines into the future. So we celebrate these vineyards and try to make them into some fantastic Australian fortifieds.
The stickies.
And the stickies, we have stickies as well. This is one of our few estate vineyards, Botrytis Semillon, and the winery itself is on a hill, and at the end of the harvest we tend to get the season to break. We get a little bit of moisture and rain, and it settles on the vineyard itself, and that actually allows the natural growth of Botrytis cinerea, the noble rot. So we let this unfold in the vineyard, and then we come through 2.5 months later and we hand pick this fruit, and then we can make this beautiful golden Semillon drink that's not too sweet but has a beautiful lusciousness
And a smoke probably.
and a fantastic acidity.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, these are really special wines. We're really fortunate to have you here today.
Pleasure. Thanks very much.